exposure to the loss. Basically here we are talking about, we are we, we are talking about the outcome. Okay, the outcome that's gonna happen from a particular threat is what is risk. So cyber attacks or data breaches are too frequently reported examples of cyber risk. Okay, cyber attacks and data breaches are too frequently reported examples of cyber risk. So this is why cyber security exists. That is what I started in the said in the beginning of the session, uh, initial session. Why cyber security? Because of the cyber attacks and data breaches that are happening. Okay, so this is basically a risk which exists in the organizations. All right. Next is risk management. So risk management is basically the whole domain. Okay, the domain is called as risk management. Like we have auditing, we have VAPT, we have uh, business continuity, we have HR security, what we saw in the ISO. The domain is called as risk management, and risk assessment is the testing which is done under the risk management domain. Okay, so risk management basically is the process of identifying and assessing risk, reducing it to an acceptable level, and ensuring it remains at that level. Okay, so our job is basically to find the risk and make sure that the risk is reduced. So risk cannot be reduced. Okay, nowhere you cannot technically, if you see, you cannot reduce the risk. Like for example, why do you wear a helmet? Why do you wear a helmet? Because there is a risk of your head getting damaged in case of an accident. Okay, uh, but no matter you wear ISI certified helmet, no matter you wear a 1,000 rupees helmet, you wear 10,000 rupees helmet or a 1 lakh rupees helmet, the risk is always there. It will not give you 100% protection, right? So ensuring that the risk is reduced to certain level is what the objective of risk management is. So the skill is basically identify the threats. Okay, first thing is to identify the threats, assessing the probability of them actually occurring. Okay, how and when would it occur? Okay, and the damage they would cause. Okay, risk occurrence we have to check, like how frequently it would occur, what damage it would cause, and then taking the right steps to reduce the overall level of risk in the environment to what organization defines as acceptable. So this particular statement, what it means is that in risk assessment, we try to first identify the threats. Now, I have already discussed about the threats. Okay, threat is basically the act, we can say, and there are two types of threats: internal threat and external threat. Okay, so identify the threat. Okay, and see what is the occurrence. Okay, how um, how likely it is to occur. You have to analyze that. All right, and the damage that they would cause. What will be the damage? What would be the loss? Okay, and accordingly take the right steps to reduce the level of risk. So uh, with this statement you might have understood that this is something which has to be done by a human. Okay, there are definitely tools nowadays. A lot of companies are coming up with tools, but uh, it's not like you put something and you get a straightforward result. Okay, and risk management is basically you get expertise in risk management from your experience. Okay, I'll try to explain this and make you understand with the real-time scenario as per the institutional risk, considering the institution, so that you understand this better. Okay, so next thing what we have to I hope the risk assessment, the what this domain does, is clear. Basically identify threat, understand the occurrence, how likely it is to occur, whether it will occur frequently. Okay, like for example, power cut. Okay, so power cut is basically the threat. Sorry, is a threat. And how likely will it occur? It might occur in the evening time. Okay, maybe twice in a week we might have power cut. Okay, what is the loss? What is the damage? How for how duration the power cut will not be there? So we have to sit, and it's a brainstorming thing. Okay, we have to sit and analyze various factors. Okay, it's not just like it doesn't work with the tool, nor does it work in just one thing, 1 minute. It there are a lot of factors that we have to take into consideration. Okay, number one is we have to first, what we have to do is evaluation or asset evaluation. Okay, what is asset? Asset is basically anything which has a value, especially for an organization. Employees are the assets. Employees are the valuable assets to an organization. On the same side, employees are the most vulnerable. Employees are the most vulnerable and weakest point of an organization or for an organization. Okay, so every asset like system, desk, cupboard, table, chair, benches, board, projector, all these things can be considered as assets. Okay, something which has value. So what is asset evaluation? Asset valuation is basically a value that is assigned to an asset based on its actual cost. Okay, what is the actual cost of the projector? What is the actual cost of the server? Okay, data that it carries. So this server has data of all the students, all the contracts, so the value increases. And its responsibility, so this server is basically responsible for our day-to-day work. So the actual cost of the server is, let's say, 5 lakh rupees. The data that it carries, we can put it like 8 lakh rupees. And its responsibility, if the server is gone, then our entire business is gone, so that has a value. Okay, and the value that I'm talking about here could be in the form of numbers. Okay, or in the form of levels like high, medium, low. Okay, high, medium, low, or a particular value like, as I said, 10 lakh, 15 lakh. Okay, companies go for the straightforward value, that's a number. Or some of the companies go for the levels like low, medium, high, or 1 2 3 4 5. Like there are levels set, or there's a particular value that they identify. Okay, identifying a value becomes very difficult. Like, as I said, in the case of the server, it's very difficult to analyze and understand and come out with the value for the data that it carries and for the responsibilities, right? So generally companies go for the levels. Okay, so asset value helps us to determine the loss. Okay, at the end we have to understand what the loss that the what would be the loss which the organization has to face, right? So this particular thing is very important, because this is basically identifying the loss, right? So to understand the loss, okay, to understand the loss, we have to make sure that we know the value of what exactly we are protecting. Okay, so it's like, I'll give you a simple example. Okay, let's consider that you have like 1 kg of gold with you, 24 karat gold of 1 kg. Okay, on the other side you have 1 kg of silver. Okay, now my question to you is, would you take, now coming back to my yesterday's question, how to achieve a good security? By implementing controls, or by implementing measures or taking measures, right? So in order for you to protect this 1 kg of gold, and in order for you to protect 1 kg of silver, my question to you is, would you take the same measures to protect 1 kg of gold and 1 kg of silver? The answer would be definitely no, because the value of 1 kg is very high. You might spend around 50 lakhs or 20 lakhs or any amount to, you might spend that amount to protect that particular asset, that is the gold. Okay, you might go up to 1 crore also if it is 1 kg of gold, 10 lakh also. Okay, you might or you might take no thing, you will dig somewhere, you will dig and you will hide it there, but the risk is there, so this control will might not work properly. On the other side, or else you might go to some bank, take some lockers and pay them a huge amount of money, get a high security enabled lockers with a multi-factor authentication like fingerprint, pin, and OTP also, and retina also, and all these things you put, and you are paying money. But in the case of 1 kg of silver, you will definitely take measures, you will definitely implement controls, but the spending, the cost that you would invest in protecting the 1 kg of silver would be less comparatively to gold. As simple as that. So understanding the value is important, or else we might end up wasting our money. Okay, so that's about asset valuation. And next thing is about risk assessment, which I said risk assessment is basically the testing part, which comes under the risk management domain. Okay, we call this thing as risk assessment. The testing, we call it as risk assessment. Okay, so how do we perform risk assessment? Okay, there is nothing like technically which I can show. I can only help you understand these concepts with the use of some example. So please bear with me, because this, this risk assessment, this auditing and all, this comes into the management part of cybersecurity. Okay, so cybersecurity has two things: technical and management. Technical is where you work on the tools and hardening, networking, firewalls and all. Management is where you work on risk assessment, where you implement the standard. Okay, like we discuss in the standard how how to uh, like in case of physical security, implement CCTV cameras. So as a management person, you will not go and implement the CCTV cameras. Okay, you will do that work. Okay, so the standard says to perform VAPT. The management person or the compliance person will not be doing the VAPT. Okay, he will tell the VAPT person to do it. Like when I was working with Infosys, I used to tell the VAPT person, I used to tell other managers. I used to work with all the high profile people like TL, team leaders and managers and all. I should tell the manager of the VAPT team or the network security team to make sure that the firewall is done properly and give me the report. So he used to do it from his people. Okay, so we do this in the management side. We do this management level work, which is a very interesting thing, and it's my favorite. I always, since my I was pursuing my masters in cybersecurity, I had decided that I would get into the management role only, and luckily by the grace of God, I got into the management field, and I have been enjoying it since a very long time, because you get to make others work. Okay, so that's about it. So coming back, please try to cooperate and try to understand these concepts, which I'll be using with the real-time example. So in the risk assessment, the first thing that we have to do is analyze the vulnerability. Okay, first thing is analyze the vulnerability. Now this vulnerability could be, you could receive this vulnerability from a VAPT team also. As a technical person, VAPT team has done the VAPT and he has said that boss, there is the firewall is not configured properly. Okay, the firewall is we are able to access anything from the firewall. Okay, so this is the vulnerability which the VAPT guy will find. And as a compliance person, as a management person, when I'm doing risk assessment, when I'm doing auditing also, which I'll come to the point later, when I'm performing risk assessment, we basically go with the standard requirements only. So I'll ask the VAPT guy, hey boss, have you done the VAPT? Then he'll give me the report, and from here I'll get that okay, there is no firewall. Okay, similarly we try to get, for like example of CCTV camera, we will get the pictures, photos, or we would go physically and see whether CCTV cameras are installed or not. A physical verification is done, okay, or a report verification is done. So analyze the vulnerability first thing, understand the threat, what is the threat, okay, see what controls are implemented currently, which we call as compensating controls. Now this is very interesting. Compensating control means the controls which support the requirement, okay, refers to the supporting controls. Like for example, the requirement is as per the standard, the requirement is that there should be a say security guard, okay, this is the requirement. All right, now we have not implemented a security guard as a company, we have not implemented a security guard, but we have implemented CCTV camera, we have implemented alarm, okay, we have put turnstiles. I believe turnstiles are covered to you in the social engineering, where only one person can enter, okay. So we have CCTV camera, we have alarms, we have biometrics, okay, and we have turnstiles implemented. Now the agenda of having a security guard, what is the agenda of having a security guard, is basically to stop unauthorized personnel. Unauthorized person, we have to ensure that unauthorized person do not enter the premises. This is the reason why we have security guard. Now by implementing CCTV camera, by implementing alarms, by implementing the turnstiles, we are trying to compensate the requirement of CCTV guard, and we are trying, sorry, security guard, and we are trying to fulfill the agenda or the requirement of this security guard, which is to avoid unauthorized access. Okay, so compensating controls are very important. What we have to understand always, okay, if a company does not have firewall, or if a company does not have antivirus, now like I'll give you another example, which is antivirus. Okay, the company does not have not has not implemented antivirus. That doesn't mean you directly go and shout at them and tell that, hey boss, you don't have an antivirus, such a shameful thing you should be having, and blah blah blah. No, what you should be doing is analyze if there are any compensating controls or not. Like for example, whether they have blocked the USB drives, okay, or USB ports, whether they have blocked internet access, okay, or whether they have done any blacklisting or whitelisting. All right, so these additional controls, we call them as compensating controls, will help us to minimize the risk of not having the main control and fulfilling the requirement of the main control, which is implementing an antivirus. Okay, so I believe you are clear with the compensating controls part. The next thing is to provide a risk treatment plan. Risk treatment plan is basically the solution. Okay, risk treatment plan is basically solution. What is the solution? In case of security guard, we would say implement a security guard. Okay, implement a security guard. In case of antivirus, we will say install an antivirus. Okay, we'll continue with this risk treatment plan, followed by the actions that will be taken. Okay, so for now we will park this particular thing aside, and we'll continue with the next thing. Okay, so I believe risk treatment plan is clear. You give a plan to them, a solution to them as to what needs to be done here. Okay, so risk assessment, sorry, VAPT comes under risk assessment part. Okay, so as a risk assessor, we have to like when I used to do, I worked as a risk advisor for KPMG Global Services, where we used to perform risk assessments for the banks of other countries and all. because we're working for foreign clients, global clients we had. So we used to analyze these things. We had to sit down and run through our brain systems and all, find what compensating controls are there, what they have implemented currently, what other things they have, how they are working, and all these things we have to understand by discussion. So this happens with the discussion with the client. Okay, so then we go for the risk treatment plan. The next thing is, what we have to understand is something called as residual risk. What is residual risk? Residual risk simply means risk which always remains. As I said in the beginning, as I said in the beginning, uh, there is no risk which can be removed completely. I mean, there is nothing like 100% security. I'll tell you this statement which I had already told you again. There is nothing like 100% security. So risk always remains. So there is a risk even by implementing antivirus. Is there anyone who can guarantee me that malware attack cannot happen? No. Okay. In case of the firewall example that I said. Okay. So here what we have to understand is the working of these particular things. Okay, like for example, if we have to discuss about firewall. Okay, so what is firewall? Firewall is basically a hardware or software based tool which controls the traffic flow. Okay, it controls the traffic flow. Now what is important thing in firewall? Will just implementing the firewall work? No, we have to configure the firewall. How do we configure the firewall? We have to configure basically something called as rules. Okay, because that's what a firewall works on. You have to tell the firewall, you have to tell the firewall what should be allowed and what should be denied. Unless and until you do not tell the firewall block pornographic sites and allow only educational tagline websites, the firewall will not do its work by itself. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. All right, even in this case, if the firewall is configured such that you have blocked all the pornographic sites, still there are chances that a student can access the pornographic site by using the proxy methods. Okay, so this is called as residual risk. Coming to the working of antivirus. What is the work of antivirus? And the work of antivirus is basically to detect the malware. Okay, to detect the malware and to stop the malware or prevent the malware. Okay, detect the malware and prevent the malware. So what's a malware? Let me clarify this thing to you. Malware simply means malicious software. Okay, and there are different types of malware. Okay, virus is a type of malware, because most of the time I have seen this. That is what I'm saying. People have confusion with malware and virus. They think that malware is a virus. Okay, but it's wrong. Whereas virus is a type of malware. Okay, malware is the broad thing which comes under where they have different things, like we have ransomware, spyware, keyloggers, virus, worm, Trojan horse. These are the types of malware. Okay, now coming back, let's see how this malware antivirus work. Okay, this is very important from a risk assessment perspective and also from an auditing perspective as well. This is very important. So there will be an antivirus installed in your system. Okay, there will be an antivirus software or an antivirus agent which will be installed. Now when you scan, when you perform the scan, what this will do, this will basically check each of the files. Okay, check each of the files with a with something called as signatures. Okay, so there will be a database of all the malware. So signature means a database of all the malwares. Okay, not the complete malware, but a signature of the malware, like a blueprint of the malware is called as signature. Okay, so each of the file it will take from your system, doc1, doc2, doc3, doc4, it will take from the system. It will compare this file with all the signatures. Okay, so entire file basically it gets decoded, it becomes zeros and ones. Malwares are basically piece of softwares, nothing else, at the end, which becomes zeros and ones. So if they find any of the characteristics of a malware into that particular file, then it will detect or it will identify. So it simply an antivirus works by doing the comparison, okay, by matching. Okay, so now what is important after implementing or installing an antivirus? Just installing the antivirus will not work. What is important is that you have to make sure that the signatures are up to date. Okay, so every company will have a big repository of all the signatures. Like if you are using Kaspersky, Kaspersky has a signature and their main servers. Okay, and what will happen is your software will get synced to this particular repository, the main repository, and it will get itself updated. So as a company of antivirus like Kaspersky or McAfee, they have to maintain the signatures in such a way that any new malware that has come up in the market, it should be in the signature. Okay, it should be in that repository, main repository, and your software should be enabled with auto update of signatures, so that whenever the company updates a new malware, your software will know that okay, there is new software here, and when it does the scanning, it will identify. Or else what will happen if there comes to be a new malware? So as per the survey, there are nearly about 230,000 malwares which are created on a daily basis. Okay, so coming back, let's say there is a new malware that has come today. Okay, and the McAfee or the Kaspersky company, they are not aware of it. Okay, and the malware is getting spread so fast. Like let's consider that the malware is a worm. Okay, which gets replicated by itself, and it doubles every time, right? So in this case, if a company has not updated their main repository with this particular worm, like let's say XYZ, then your antivirus that you have installed will not come to know about this malware, and it will allow the malware to run in your system. Otherwise, if let's say that the malware antivirus company has updated in their main signatures, but your software is not enabled with auto update of signatures, and the signatures that you have is like 1 month old, in that case also your software will be of no use. Okay, because it's not able to find out the new malwares, and what is the use of it, right? So these are the things which we have to check. All right, in this case also there is a residual risk. Okay, there is a residual risk that new malwares can still get injected in your system or your network. This is called as residual risk. Okay, and what do you do for this residual risk? You go for compensating controls. Compensating controls are blocking USB drives, disabling downloading of any content from the internet. Okay, and maybe whitelisting or blacklisting, or configuring the firewalls and so on. Okay, so this comes under the control part. Okay, and the next thing what we have to understand is basically in the in the thing that we discussed in the last slide. I'm sorry to take it back. That is providing a risk treatment plan. By providing a risk treatment plan, we suggest controls. Okay, now what we have to next understand is that security comes with a cost. Okay, so there is a cost for all the controls. Like to implement an antivirus, there is a cost which starts from 5,000 to 1 lakh. For having a firewall, there is a cost for the organization. Okay, so as a risk advisor, what our main responsibility was to understand the budget of the client and accordingly suggest them the controls. Okay, or else it doesn't make any sense for me to go and tell the company, hey, you go for this firewall, it is very good, it is the best in the market, it will cost you 10 lakh. Their annual their annual revenue might be 10 lakh or 15 lakh or 20 lakh. Why would they go for a 10 lakh investment on this type of control? No, it doesn't work in that. Okay, so we have to understand different things before we suggest a risk treatment plan. Okay, so I hope these parts was clear about the um, risk assessment, how it is done. And next thing is risk valuation. Okay, so which basically means assigning a value to a risk. Okay, so there are generally high, medium, and low. Sorry, the color should have been green here, I'm very sorry. For the low, the color should have been low. Sorry, for the low, the color should have been green. Okay, so either we go with high, medium, low, or we go with 1 2 3 4 5. We go with high, mid high, mid low, something like that. There's nothing like stringent thing to for the companies to follow. Okay, so we have to follow this, like this we have to follow, like that we have to. There's nothing like that. So high means is expected to occur. Okay, high risk means is something which is expected to occur. All right, and then medium means could occur. Okay, could occur, but there are some measures. Okay, so medium, which is could occur, this is possible, but there are measures which ensures that the likelihood is less, or the effective of the impact is less. And then we have low, which is rare, may occur in exceptional circumstances, or little, um, experience for a similar failure. Okay, so basically if we say that the company organization that has not implemented a antivirus, and then you go for compensating controls. Okay, if there are no compensating controls, then the risk would be high. If there are some compensating controls, then it would be a medium risk. Okay, because the chances is less to occur. And if let's say that they have more number of controls in place, like the system is not at all connected to the internet, and all the drives are blocked, it is just used for some just for some purpose, in that case it becomes a low risk. Okay, so risk depends on the lot of factors. Okay, lot of parameters as well. And once you assign a value to the risk, the next thing is to take actions on the risk. So you either accept the risk. Okay, so a company might say, hey, I don't want to, I'm accepting the risk. Okay, considering the risk, compensating controls that are in place, and considering the risk treatment plan, and considering the budget that is required to overcome that risk. Okay, so instead of going for a paid and a professional and highly configured firewall, the company will say, okay, I have the network, the internet is not used at all. Like in the case of CE office or lawyer's office, they don't do a lot of things with the internet. So there is only one system which is connected to the internet, and we have isolated that system differently. So there are other things also that comes into picture. So if they are accepting the risk, we have to ensure that there are controls, compensating controls that they take. Accepting the risk means they said that, yeah, fine, if anything happens, I'm ready to take it. Like not wearing a helmet. If you're not wearing the helmet, you are accepting the risk of damaging your head, and you are accepting the risk of getting your giving your money to the cops, paying the fine. All right, next is reduce the risk. Organizations say that, okay, fine, I'm fine with this, the cost and all looks fine, I'm going to reduce the risk. So reducing the risk means implementing the controls that are required. Okay, and then removing the risk. Removing the risk means you'll say, hey, my internet itself is not required for my company, let's remove it completely. Okay, let's isolate the network completely. So you are removing the risk. In whatever the case, as I said, there is a residual risk which always remains static. Okay, residual risk is something which always there. Next thing is and there are standards also, like ISO 27005, 31000. These are the two standards. Let me just mention it here. ISO, sorry, I didn't mention that in that slide. ISO 27005 and 31000. You can refer this. These standards will help you to understand how to perform risk assessment and all. So what I have covered now is just a pinch of the risk management and risk assessment. Okay, because practically we would need at least 1 day or 2 day. Generally for the organizations and all, if you are taking these sessions, we could take it for a long time with more scenarios, with more examples, so that you understand it better. I hope at a high level you're clear with what is risk assessment. It means analyzing the risk, where we we try to understand what is the vulnerability, we try to find the threat, and then we see what controls are implemented currently, and with considering all these things, we go for a risk treatment plan as per the budget of the company. Okay, and then we assign a value to the risk: high, medium, low, and then we ask them, and then the organization takes decision whether to accept, reduce, or remove the risk. Okay, so this is basically the risk assessment part. Going next is, I would like to show you a sample report of VAPT, a sample VAPT report, which was done, so that you get to see it. Okay, it's already opened, sorry. So this is basically a sample report we have, which we had performed. The client details and all have been masked here. Okay, so generally we have the, starting with, there is the document details, document title, web application. This is penetration testing we performed uh, on a X client. So penetration testing, if you are doing it, includes vulnerability assessment. Okay, but vulnerability assessment does not include penetration testing. Document submission details, a client confidential, there's a classification given, version, document ID, last edit date, contact number, designation, email ID, who owns the document, and the document contains information which is the intellectual property of their client. Okay, so nothing document, okay, copyright issues, title, name, company address, scope of work. Okay, like initially we have to do the scoping, what and all is included. I think this is covered for you, Shashi had covered for you. So what and all is included in the scope of the penetration testing, type of assessment. Okay, then we go for the approach. Every company has their own approach. Okay, not all the companies will have the same approach. Then we have the standards which are used. So OASP standard we followed, WAC is another standard, OSSTMM is another standard that exists in cybersecurity, especially in the penetration testing. Okay, just like OASP top 10. So these are the vulnerabilities that were identified. Critical, high, medium, low. Again, you can see here there is critical. Some companies go for high, medium, low. Some go for critical, very highly critical, medium, low, like that. So don't go with the naming part here. PII, data disclosure, blind SQL injection. PII stands for personally identifiable information. And then we come back, these are the low vulnerabilities. Okay, so there were number of applications that were tested is 5, number of vulnerabilities found were 18. Vulnerability breaker based on severity is 1 critical, 2 high, 6 low, medium, 9 low, and 0 is informative based. So that's not provided here. Informative based means something which is not having a threat, major threat. So they say that it was observed that the sensitive data was exposed, like name, email ID, hotel check-in, check-out, flight details. This information is accessible over internet. An attacker can use this information to impersonate user, or can perform email phishing, or use this information to track user activities. Okay, so we are able to find it in one of the one of their application, which is this URL, where you told them how we did it. Okay, observe that they were getting the user details without any authentication, and it was possible to enumerate details of other users also, just by changing the last 6 digit of the URL. Okay, so we created an account first in our name, and then for every account it gave an associated ID. So we tried to change that ID with different number, and it gave us the results. This was basically the vulnerability in simple thing. We used burp suit for this purpose. Okay, as I said, without any session token, the data was disclosed. So this is basically the burp suit tool. And impact, we discussed about the impact, recommendation we have to give. Okay, then was blind SQL injection. All right, on this particular login page, we are able to get into their database directly without requiring the password. We were able to log into their application. Recommendation, there was the recommendation that was given here. And malicious file upload vulnerability. Okay, so these are some of the vulnerabilities that we found, and this is how we give, along with the screenshots and remediation, and the impact is what we give. And last we have the appendix, the naming thing and all. So this is basically a sample report of VAPT, and there is nothing like stringent rules that you have to follow in order to prepare a VAPT report. Every company follows their own standard and reporting format. Okay, so don't go with this particular format. So yeah, that's about VAPT and risk assessment. Next thing is understanding an audit. Okay, audit. So what is audit? Audit in simple terms, audit basically means verification or examination. Okay, you're all faculty, so you might have been, you might already be familiar with the NAC audit or UGC audit, and lot of audits that happens in the colleges and all, right, especially for the university based universities and autonomous colleges as well. And for individual college also, I believe there happens to be some of the other audits that happens at a frequent duration, where they check about the staff, where they check about how many students have come, how many students have left, the scores or the results of the students, the classroom, the facility. I remember when the audit used to happen, all the, just like all the painting used to be done, and campus, they used to get all the things done for the campus, and strictly, like, you have to behave properly, don't roam around in the veranda, and many things I remember. So this is basically an audit which used to happen in which happens in the institutions and colleges. So same way, there happens to be audits that are performed in cybersecurity, which are very, 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 very important. Audits take a very important, plays a very important role in cybersecurity, basically to find the it's basically a verification or an examination thing to find out the loopholes. Okay, so there are two types of the like audit thing that we do, checking that we do. One is we do the test of design, what we call as TOD. Another thing is test of effectiveness, what we call as TOE. Okay, test of design means how the designing is done. Okay, like for example, your college has rules, policies they have set, like rules they have set. What is it? It says that the students have to maintain a particular percentage in order for them to write the exam. Okay, so this is something which you have defined. All right, so for the designing or test of design, we check the policy, we check the flow charts, we check the documentation. Okay, like if it is a website, we have to check the flow chart of the website, how it is designed first. Designing plays a very important role. Unless and until it is not designed properly, unless and until it is not documented properly, or it is not written properly, the implementation will not happen properly, right? Unless and until your college has not defined or documented the rules for the, or the policies for the students will not follow. You will be coming and telling, do this, do that, but at the end it will not be followed properly. So there should be strict rules. If the student has not got 75% minimum, okay, and he is not supposed to sit in the exam, so this has to be gone to the higher authority, like to the dean, to the HOD, dean, or maybe vice principal, or to the principal. From there they have to give the approval or whatever action. So there should be a system in place. Otherwise corruption will happen. Okay, things will not run smoothly. So that is test of design, where we find out the the documentation part, we see how the planning has done. Test of effectiveness is basically the implementation part, the working part, okay, or the configurations part. Like for example, in an audit for the examination example which I gave, that the students should have minimum 75% marks in order to write the exam. So what I'll do is I'll come and I'll ask you the attendance. First I'll ask you the list of students who have sat for the exam, who have written the exam. Out of those, I'll pick, I'll ask you to show us the report along with the marks card. Okay, so I'll choose some students who have less marks and I'll ask you to give me the attendance report of these 5 students. Okay, so if I see that the students are having less than 75 and still they have written the exam, it means that the controls or the rules are not followed properly and there is a gap, what we call as non-compliance. Okay, compliance means following, non-compliance means not following. Okay, so this is basically an example. In your report, if to the NAC or UGC, you tell them that we have for every department, for every course, we have 5 faculties, and all the faculties are postgraduates. Okay, you have defined this as per your college rules. This is what you follow. But when we come for the audit, we check for their the faculty's details, their education certificate, and we verify whether we do the test of effectiveness or TOE, whether it has been followed properly or not. Okay, so how it happens in cybersecurity, let's understand that now. Basically there are checklists. Okay, there are checklists, like there are rules that are followed in your organization. Same way there is a checklist, the rules that should be followed in an organization. The checklist could be derived from ISO, from a particular standard, okay, or from any requirement. Like in your case, UGC has told you to follow certain things, so you take that rules and you make it and you take it further. Right? So same way we have checklists which we take it from ISO or PCI or HIPAA standard. For some of the examples are in the case of physical security domain, in the case of HR security domain. So there are different domains where we check. Okay, in your UGC audits also, college audits also, they have the physical part and the educational part, the reporting part, and so on. So there are different domains. Similarly, there are different domains here. So in the physical security domain, it says are CCTV cameras in place at every required points. Okay, so what you have to do is you basically need to first see whether test of design, whether you have a policy defined for the physical security. Okay, if you do not have a policy, then obviously the implementation or the working of that control will not be proper. Okay, so you check for the policy first always, and then you check the implementation. In case of there is an alarm for the biometric doors. Okay, is there a visitor logbook? Okay, so these are the controls. You check the documentation first, and then you check the effectiveness. How will you check the effectiveness? You basically go physically to each of the places, especially to the sensitive areas, and you see whether CCTV cameras are installed or not first. Okay, second thing, just having a CCTV camera will not work, because it happened with me. One of the audit that I was doing, they had CCTV camera, but the CCTV camera was not running at all. Okay, CCTV camera, especially at the server rooms, it was not running at all since like 2 or 3 years. Okay, so this is what we have to check, especially in ATMs and all, whether they have a CCTV camera, but whether it is running, whether it is implemented is one thing, effectiveness is second thing. Okay, implementation is fine, second thing is effectiveness, whether the camera runs 24/7 or not, that is the effectiveness. Okay, is there an alarm for the biometric door? So how do? We used to, when these controls were done, we used to go to that door, we used to do check by putting my fingerprint and see whether the alarm rings or not. Okay, is there a visitor logbook? So we had to go to the security guard or the desk and check the visitor logs. Okay, so this is how you do the effectiveness. We do not check the effectiveness just for that day, we also check it for a previous day and last month and last year also. Okay, same thing for HR security, our background checks done Okay, there will be a report which the HR has to maintain, that the background checks are done. Are the employees provided with security trainings? So after every training, there happens to be a report make and keep. Okay, like in this case, Malvika ma'am is tracking the attendance. Okay, and you are giving your attendance and feedbacks and all, so that these things are something which needs to be checked afterwards. So the ma'am is doing a lot of work with this session that is going on. She's trying to she's attending the workshops, she's trying to get her other work done, and manage the attendance and a lot of things. So yeah, we have to verify whether things are effectively running or not. Okay, so this is how the audit works. And as I said, why audits are performed? Audits are performed basically, sorry, my bad. There are two kinds of audit: internal audit and external audit. Internal audit is something which is done by the internal person, and external audit which is something which is done by an third party from outside. Okay, like we perform audits of an organization. So organizations call us, and they tell us to do an audit, so we become an external auditors. Some of the cases they ask us to be their internal auditors also, because these cooperative banks and all, they do not have budget to hire an internal auditor and keep. So what they do is they ask us to be their internal auditor. So we sign an agreement with them and we be their internal auditor. And when any external auditors comes to them, then we support them. Okay, we support them and we make sure that the audit is going smooth. So in case we are performing the audit, we have to make sure that we find out the loopholes, because there are people who play very smart. Like in the case of CCTV camera, I said signatures of antivirus, they say they'll have antivirus is there. Sometimes we have also seen that the softwares like antivirus and all are installed 2 to 3 days before the audit. So how do you check this? How do you check the effectiveness, whether it was installed previously or not? So you check the installation date, you check the log things and all. Okay, so as an auditor performing the audit, we have to be very smart in identifying the things, because people will fool us very easily. So auditors have to be very smart. In order to support an audit, we have to be very smart. In the same case, we have to make sure that the logs are, the log access is not given to the auditor, and we tell them that the logs are very confidential and we cannot give you, and so on. So okay, so we try to bypass things. There is a loophole everywhere. Okay, so these are the two types of audits, and why audits are performed: to find any loopholes that exist in the organization, and basically it's a compliance requirement. Okay, as I said, VAPT also, it's done because ISO says, like there are compliance like standard certifications like ISO 27001, PCI DSS, HIPAA, GDPR. These standards specify a rule. Okay, so why is there a security guard at every ATM? It's because RBI has mandated. Okay, though the things are not being followed, that's a different case, but they say that they have compensating controls and all. The keeping it aside, why there is a security guard at every ATM? It's a rule of the bank. Why there is a OTP or two-factor authentication enabled for your logging thing? It is a requirement from RBI. Otherwise, who would be interested? Because each of these controls comes with a cost. As I said, to deploy a security guard, there is a cost. So no business will be ready to invest something like this. Okay, so that's the reason there are standards which comes into picture. As per the compliance requirement, there are certain rules that have to be followed. Like as per your UGC, you have to follow certain rules. Okay, as per your NAC or anything, you have to follow certain compliance requirements and standards provided. So these are the reasons why audits are performed. Some of the audit sample I would like to show you, which we had performed. Just a second. Some of the audit report as to how the audit works. Okay, so this is one of the audit report which we done, a very small audit report. This was done for a company based out of Bangalore. Okay, so the purpose of this was a very small organization, and they had faced certain threats. They had faced certain cyber attacks in their organization. And while I was having the discussion, he said like, hey, I have everything, I have firewall and these things we already have, but still we had a cyber attack. And then I said, sir, you know let me find out, so we let me do an audit on your organization. And then we did this audit. So their business details, asset inventory, we had to find what they have in place currently, how many servers, how many database servers, for what purpose, firewall, printer. So we made the asset inventory. So this audit report also, there's nothing like a format. Okay, there's nothing like a format. The basic intention is that you point out the loopholes. Okay, organizational departments, these departments, information in organization, there was sensitive information, there was confidential information. And then we made a list of the current security poster. Okay, like we said that there is activity, active directory is in place, all the systems are connected to each other using local net area network. Users with other departments do not have permission to perform right action on the document that is not intended to them. Firewall solution is being used for the prevention of unauthorized traffic. They have blocked certain websites. Antivirus solution is in place for critical systems. And so they were, these are the things which are in place for them. And then we went on the observations, that is test of TOD and TOD. So here we found that use of unique accounts for every user, this is basically a requirement. Okay, every individual should be given an individual account. Okay, but it was noted that for every department they had one account, and there were 5, 8, 10 people using that particular account. So what will happen if any user does anything wrong, will not be able to catch, there is no accountability. There remains no accountability. Okay, so we asked them to create individual user accounts for every users. Okay, restricting read write access privilege based on the need. We said that some of the people were having access to the contracts and bills and all, which they were not required. So we asked them to block that. Blocking external storage device media ports wherever, for the systems where it is not required, we asked them to block the device ports. Use of antivirus solution, we said that they have installed host based antivirus solution to a limited set of systems. Okay, so we asked them to implement to install antivirus for all the systems. And then we suggested certain best practices for them. It was a small organization, so we asked them to implement a policy, to have a policy. We asked them to train their employees. We asked them to do an internal network test, penetration testing. We asked them to do the logging and monitoring. These things they did not implement because they said it is out of their budget, but rest of the things, awareness poster and all these things were implemented by the company. Okay, so this is a sample audit report that we did. One more audit report is there. Wait a second. Okay. All right. No, this is not an audit report, but this is a report that we submitted. One of our assessor, an intern of us, he found a major vulnerability on the kspbc.government.in site. So what happened here was he saw that in their website they had a link to the social Twitter account. Okay, with the name of the account, but when he checked that account did not exist at all. Okay, so what he did was he created a fake account with this name. All right, so with this way he was able to take over the Twitter account. So technically what happened, they shouldn't have given the account name here, but they gave the account name, and then and then that account did not existed. Okay, so this guy, he created another account with that same name. Okay, and then the person was able to do anything. So we could use I created a new account for the Twitter username. It was successfully created, and I was able to take over the government site Twitter page. Okay, so what can happen? Impact is an attacker can post bad content in the name of the company. As the page is linked in the website, a legitimate user, when clicks, will be redirected to the attacker controlled account. So many things can happen here. They can either link that particular give a link to that particular thing to another different site, maybe a pornographic site or any other site. Okay, so this is another report that we submitted to the government. And the next thing is to discuss on something called as bug hunting. Okay, what is bug hunting? Bug hunting is basically finding bugs. Okay, finding for the bugs offer or loopholes offer in an organization. Okay. So here what's happening is many companies nowadays they are going for bug bounty programs where instead of hiring a security professional and paying them in lakhs every month, what they're telling is they're calling individual researchers, and this is very important so that you can spread this message to your students who are interested in hacking and all. They can register and they can find the bugs. Okay, most of the companies, including we look at the companies here, a lot of companies what they do is they are calling upon individual researchers, students and anyone, and they are asking to find bugs. Okay, find bugs on their platform, find and report it to them. Okay, so instead of making use of wrong use of it, they're asking that report us and we will pay you. Okay, so Intel, the minimum payout Intel offers is $500. Okay, maximum payout that the company has given is $30,000. Yahoo, Snapchat, Cisco, Dropbox, Apple, Facebook, Google, Quora, Mozilla, Microsoft, OpenSL, um, Vimeo, Apache, Twitter, Avast, PayPal, GitHub, Uber, Magento, Pearl, PHP, Starbucks, AT&T, LinkedIn, Paytm, Shopify, WordPress, Zomato, Tor Project, HackerOne, Bugcrowd. So these are some of the programs where one can register themselves, like zomato.com/security. Here they say that say for the community by disclosing security issues to us. So here you have the option to submit a bug report. In this case where I showed you about the report no here, this report. So similar type of report needs to be made and you have to submit it. Okay, like I'll share this link to you so that you can further use it and access it. There are many other platforms also which are available. Okay, like talking about Indian bug hunters, there is this guy called as Bhavuk Jain, a bug bounty hunter from Delhi, managed to bag a $1,00,000 bounty from Apple for finding a critical bug in their system. Okay, 1 lakh dollar. Okay, he earned. Recently this happened. Ahmedabad security researcher Bipin Jitia won 23.8 lakhs from Facebook for identifying a bug in its social networking platform and a third-party business intelligence platform. Last year, a student from Kerala, he found a bug in Instagram. I think he got somewhere in 10 lakh or 15 lakh. The bug was that while resetting the password, Instagram asks for sends an OTP. Okay, so the time allowed to enter the OTP was somewhere around 6 minutes. Okay, so what he could do was he tried to brute force. Okay, and it was just 4-digit OTP earlier, and with 4-digit OTP, permutation and combination comes into picture. We can have n number of combinations. Within 6 minutes, he was able to try out with millions of OTPs at that point of time. He did this using the tool Burpsuit. Okay, so we can do these attacks also on Burpsuit tool. And out of 10 accounts, for every 10 accounts, for 6 to 7 accounts, he was able to reset the password and gain access. He reported it to the Instagram, and Instagram paid him in 15 lakhs or something. I don't remember the amount. Okay, so these are some of the things which you can engage your students to work on for those who are interested. Okay, and it is very simple. There are bug hunting platforms, like there is hackerone.com. Either you can go for these individual companies. Okay, these individual companies, or there are platforms like hackerone.com. Okay, I'll share this thing also, where one can get themselves registered. They'll be giving task is basically to find the bugs. Okay, so whoever finds the bugs and reports it to them, then they get paid. Okay, they have connection with all the companies, many companies. They have big companies they have collaborated with, and they give you targets. You have to work. I mean, they don't allocate. You have to only choose whichever target you want, find the bug and get rewarded. Okay, hackers have earned more than $100 million in rewards for their efforts. Okay, so you can refer this website. It's a very good website for contents, resources. Also there is bugcrowd.com, where one can register themselves and get their expertise in this field. This is another platform where they can earn money. Okay, so I use LinkedIn, and in my LinkedIn I get to see, some of every day I get to see some of the other person who is getting a bounty. Okay, so there are many people who do this sitting at your home, especially they are, people, students who are not having so much good, what is that, academics wise they are not good. Okay, but in these things they're very good. So you just need patience for this. All right. And here is a person. He said that this person has critical bugs, has reported 16 bugs to one program that is pending, not mention the amount here. But I use LinkedIn every day. Okay, so this guy, see, he has got a bounty of 2000. Yeah, it's 25,000 euros. Okay, this guy has got. Okay, he has reported it to them, and he has earned 25,000 euros. Then yeah, like that, if I scroll you, I can at least show you 10-15 people who put it on their LinkedIn that they have got, they have earned bug bounty from these things. All right, so that was the intention, to show you this is another website where the students can use and they can utilize it. And just a second. So there are, how do you get it, how do you practice? For the practice purpose also, there are hacking platforms, like we have hackthebox.eu. Okay, this is one platform where students or individuals can practice ethical hacking legally. They have vulnerable machines configured. Okay, they can register here, and they can start hacking. Okay, companies, individuals, universities also can get themselves get registered with this, but there is a cost for that. Okay, so is an online platform allowing you to test your penetration testing skills and exchange ideas and methodologies. All right, there are labs basically that are set. Similarly, we have onehub.com, which is another website where students will, or individuals can work on these machines. Okay, difficulty level is also there. They will tell, like, task based these things are, they'll tell what task should be done and so on. So there are platforms, where students can, one can get expertise. Okay, in this ethical hacking or cyber security subject. And that's the best part of cyber security, which I'm very much proud of. Okay, so how to become a cyber security expert? It's very easy. Try to learn different domains. Okay, that's very important. Like standards, compliance, VAPT, networking, Linux, programming languages. So these are the some domains. There are many domains in cyber security which one has to be learning. So in this workshop, we have tried to teach you, give you knowledge on standards, networking, basics of networking, programming languages. We were not able to do it. VAPT we have tried. Linux also we are not covered it. Linux from cyber security, because the timeline is short. Okay, and cyber security is one part at a high level. Then comes the ethical hacking, which is one part, which is a part of cyber security. So how to become an ethical hacker? Practicing is very important. Okay, all these people whom you see, who have earned 25,000 and all, they didn't earn it within 1 hour or 2 hour. They spend nearly lot of time trying to practicing lot of things. Okay, because so many platforms are there. I've already discussed with you. They have to practice, they have to research, because cyber security is very big. Cyber security is very big. Okay, so like I remember this statement from one of my faculty, that is on Java. The Java is like as bigger as the ocean. Okay, so ethical hacking or cyber security is also bigger than the ocean, because every day there happens to be new technology that comes up, and we have to be updated with the new technology. So research is very important. If a student is not researching, is not learning new things, then he cannot survive in cybersecurity. Okay, so getting into cybersecurity is very easy, but surviving in cybersecurity is very difficult. even today even today I try to read or try to spend at least 20 to half an hour of my time in learning and understanding new concepts. Okay, I have to do that. So researching and practicing is something which is very important that a candidate has to be doing. Various vulnerabilities, understanding of various vulnerabilities is very important for an ethical hacker to know. We have already told you about OS top 10, so I believe you know about some of the vulnerabilities now. Shashi has tried to explain you different other vulnerabilities also about email things and all. Okay. Especially OS top 10 is what one has to focus if they're getting into web application security. When it comes to vulnerabilities, OS top 10, knowledge of OS top 10 is very important. Various tools one should be using, one should be having expertise on various tools like Burpsuit, Nmap, Metasploit, and how do you work on these tools? As I said, there is testfire.net website, there is onehub.com, there is Hack the Box. These are the platforms which one individual can make use of, and they can practice here, and they can research on different things and understand. Especially Kali operating system is there. Get expertise on Kali. There are so many tools you can you can do anything with Kali operating system. It's such a powerful machine there, which one can use, which is a Linux based. I understand, learn different attacks. We saw a man in the middle attack yesterday, parameter tampering yesterday. We saw about eavesdropping attack yesterday. Similarly, SQL injection attack, I think that was covered. Cross-site scripting, I think that was covered. Finding the email vulnerabilities and performing the attack was covered. So these are the things which one has to be knowing in order to become an ethical hacker, which is very easy as per my thing. Next is, let's discuss on some of the certifications that are available for an individuals to gain, because very few institutes and colleges in India are offering the courses. We have started MSc in cybersecurity in collaboration with the Mangalore University, and this is a new course that I've started. So other colleges also are welcome to start new these type of additional certification courses, and give exposure to the students. Apart from the regular courses, there are certain certifications which students can do. These are some of the global certification bodies. I'm not doing marketing, neither am I get any commission or payment for this part. This is just for awareness part. These are all global certification bodies, which means that if you get certified from EC Council, which is a security certification body, you can go to US, Russia, you can go to Japan, not China, you can go anywhere. You can, the certificate will be valid. Okay, your certificate will be valid. So one can get certification in networking, because networking is a very important concept. So Cisco certifications are there which one can take up for this. Then in the programming, I've already discussed that programming knowledge is required. So EC Council provides a certified application security, that is case in Java and .NET. They don't teach you programming, but they teach you secure programming. Okay, faculties can enroll yourself so that you can take the material and then you can teach it further to the students. You can there is a cost for this, but yeah, you can affordable cost which you can take up. Other languages that are required to learn is PHP, JavaScript, Java, Angular JS, Android, iOS or Swift, Python language, or iOS or Swift. So these are some of the programming language which an ethical hacker should be knowing. Okay, if they're working on Android security, then Android language is something which they have to be knowing. Python is a powerful language. All the major tools that we use for our hacking purpose are developed with the Python language. So it's a very powerful tool. You can do miraculous magic and wonders with the Python language. So you can suggest your students to get into the Python, PHP. See, C programming and all, it's fine, the knowledge is required, but for a career perspective, these are the languages which one should be knowing. Then there are certifications in the platform based. When I'm talking about platforms, it means servers. All the data that are there in this world gets stored in somewhere called as servers. Okay, so there are Linux based servers and there are Windows based servers. Okay, at the end, every data, your Facebook data, everything, your WhatsApp, everything gets stored in a server. So we need professionals who can configure and manage the server. So Linux plays an important role because most of the servers are Linux based. So there are certifications provided by Microsoft on their servers, certification provided by Red Hat, certified system administrator. CompTIA Linux Plus is there. Then we have CompTIA Server Plus, which provides certification in server based. Red Hat certification. In the hacking, we have Certified Ethical Hacker version 11 is the latest one provided by EC Council. CompTIA Security Plus, OSCP, which stands for Offensive Security Certified Professional. If you need this, slides, let me know. I can share it with you later. Okay. So OSCP is another certification. It's a 24 hours exam certification which one has to give. Basically, they'll give you tasks to crack machines, to hack into machines. If you're able to hack the machines, then you clear the exam. That's how this certification works. Digital forensics is another field that is booming. So there are certification provided by EC Council, that is CHFI, GIAC, as the 6 forensic certifications. ISC Square provides certified cyber forensic professional, so one can go for this. There are certifications in the SOC or the SIM. I think SIM has already been discussed by Loknath in the network security. So IBM is providing SOC analyst. Collis Hill Academy provides SOC analyst certificate. CompTIA provides CISA plus. Splunk certification. Splunk is another tool provided by the Splunk company. Certified SOC analyst by EC Council. The IBM tool is widely used by the company. So with this certification, they'll teach you how to use this tool. It's like working on firewalls, the same way working on SIM tools or SOC tools. Okay, very good demand here for this. And then we have data privacy as another domain. I think Kirti has already given you visibility on the data privacy and its importance. There are certification provided by DSCI, dsci.in. Kindly visit the website of dsci.in, Data Security Council of India, which is a central government based initiative for the data privacy matter. You can get yourself expertise with this, very good in demand in future also. Okay, so myself with this dsci.in. So with this, myself Robinson D'Souza, here is my phone number. I'm already on the WhatsApp. If you have any questions, you can contact me. My company is Cyber Sapiens. Okay, talking about Cyber Sapiens at LLP, we provide various services. We are a startup company. We are based out in Bangalore at Bun Social Circle. We provide training as a service, as part of which we have something called as the Hackers Club, where we give opportunity for individuals to work on real-time platforms and dummy kind of platforms like OneHub and all, right? So the same kind of concepts we have with the Hackers Club, where students not only get to practice hacking legally, but they also get to work on real-time platforms. The one which I showed you about the government side, there are so many other such vulnerabilities we have identified, and these are identified by our interns and by the people who come to us for the training. We do cyber case investigation and we provide legal service. Mangalore Police is one of our client, and we give our service to individual persons also. We do malware analysis. If any company or organization faces a malware attack, then we provide the malware service. We do standard implementation. We do VAPT. We do red team assessment. This is very interesting. If you want, this red team assessment is, we have a unique concept where we say, we the charges for red team assessment is basically free, would be free for you if you're secure. Okay, so if you are not able to find any loopholes in your organization, then we will not charge you one penny also. But if you find any vulnerabilities, then that's where we charge you. Okay, because as security assessors, we have to find vulnerabilities or else we are of no use. That is what our concern is. And if anyone of your college, if you want to perform the red team assessment where you want to find loopholes which the students might take use of, okay, then you can contact us. We can do it for free of cost if there are no loopholes. We also provide internship and project training. like we provide internships. We provide free internship. We don't pay them unless and until the student is not having knowledge on cybersecurity. We ask them to go for a paid training. Okay, paid training, but internship is free. Apart from that, we also give project internship. If there are any students in your circle who are good in web development, Android development, or any other concept, you can contact. You can give us their contact. We can give them projects. We have a lot of projects where they can work on. We don't charge them. Okay, and we also have tie up with SciSec, which is Cyber Security Karnataka. It's an initiative by Government of Karnataka. If there are any projects that are done by the students, we give it to the Government of Karnataka, and from there, we can go further for the funding and lot of other things. Okay. Apart from this project with SciSec, we also provide awareness. So awareness is very important. If you want your students to be aware of all the cybersecurity regulations, tips, tricks, and do's and don'ts, especially, you can contact me. We do this for free of cost because it's a sponsored program by the government. Okay, we have already conducted it at a lot of schools and colleges in the Karnataka state. So if anyone is interested for your students, you can contact us. We provide career guidance for the BSc, BCA, MSc, MCA engineering students. So we help them understand about the certifications and different bug bounty programs and all, and how they can get expertise and how they can learn cybersecurity, because this is very important. This is again a sponsored program by Government of Karnataka. Nowadays, students are not aware of the things what they have to do, how they have to make their career. So this career guidance will help them to understand and get a visibility. We also conduct 2 days of hands-on workshop, which is again a sponsored program by Government of Karnataka. So if any it's a 2 days of hands-on completely for the students especially. So if anyone is interested for any of these programs, you can contact me on this number 9964203651, and I'll be sharing a feedback link. If you guys like this presentation, you can provide a feedback on my LinkedIn profile and to our companies in the reviews form. So based on your interest. So with this, I would like to know if there are any questions. I also dropped a note in the group. If you guys have any questions, to let me know, but I did not see any questions, so I believe that you guys are clear with all the doubts. But still, if any point of time you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in any case. Okay. So I would like to thank Malvika ma'am and St. Agnes College for giving us this opportunity to present our knowledge, to share our knowledge with all of you. And the intention was that you spread it across further. Okay. So that we have good security in the country, in the nation. So that was the intention, and I hope we have tried to fulfill it with all, from on behalf of all my team who have taken the presentation to you, who have taken the classes to you. I thank St. Agnes Institute, Malvika ma'am, and all the participants for patiently listening to us. And I hope you have enjoyed this. Okay. And thank you very much. If there are any questions, open, or else Malvika ma'am, over to you.
Dear participants, if you have any questions. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for your deliberations on risk assessment, risk management, valuation, reporting, security audits. Hopefully, we can pick up the cue from here and initiate our students, those who are interested at least in using these bug bounty programs and on how to become a cybersecurity expert. As you rightly said, researching and practicing is very important in cybersecurity. So we at St. Agnes College, sir, are very so thankful to you for actually helping us plan the FDP schedule, and we owe you that, sir. Seeking your support in all our future endeavors, I sincerely thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There's a question from Rajeshri ma'am. How to secure our FB account? Please make sure the password is not common. One thing. Second thing is enable two-factor authentication. Third thing is make sure you do not make friendship with unknown people. Okay. Yeah. Before sharing any contents, be very careful. So these are the things how you can secure your FB accounts. Okay. Keep your password strong and not common passwords. So yeah.
Any other questions? So I think we can wind up the session. So in the afternoon will be the valedictory program. So that would be at 2. So participants, please be on time. So we will be the valedictory, the session, I mean, it would be just for a few minutes. So immediately you will have the assessment. The test would be conducted, followed by the feedback. So please be there on time. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.